welcome to another episode of WoW Can Cook. My name is Tracy, and I'm here with my friend, Dr. Gloria, and we are going to cook another one of her amazing recipes called Pumpkin Apple Bisque. Hi, Dr. Gloria. How are you doing today?
Hi, good morning. We're cold in Texas, and I understand you are too.
Oh, yeah. It was 39 on my way to the gym this morning.
Yeah, 33 here and really high winds, very cold. And it was over the weekend, it was in the mid 80s. So our poor bodies need that warm soup to kind of adjust to the rapid change in temperature, because it's hard on the body when it changes that quick.
Yeah,
that's why people get sick. You know, everything is okay, and then it switches the other direction. So, hey, you've got a pretty looking pumpkin there. Did you cook that baby?
Yes, I did. I went to the grocery store on my way to the gym and grabbed the smallest pumpkin I could find, and I cooked it in the oven. First I cut the top off, and then I cut some more top off. It wasn't enough. And then I cooked it at 350 on some parchment paper for 30 minutes, and then it wasn't browning, so I just sprayed a little bit of avocado oil over so it would brown a little bit, and I left it in for about another 8 minutes.
So how long total did it take you to get it where the fork goes in and it's soft on the inside?
38 minutes.
Okay, see, that's about anywhere from 35 to even 50 minutes, depending on your oven. So that's good. Yeah, that's how I did the one in the recipe.
So here's something interesting that I never knew, though, because I've never cooked a pumpkin before. But when you look inside the pumpkin and you take it out, it's like stringy. Yeah. And it's like spaghetti squash-ish.
It is like spaghetti squash, yes.
Yeah, it was weird. And it doesn't taste anything like that.
No, it doesn't. And I've often wondered, when I have time, if I shouldn't try to make something with that, because that might be a nice, maybe toasted, grated on something, or, you know, to finish a dish off, because it does taste like pumpkin squash. You're right.
Well, it tastes different than this smashed pumpkin, though. Yes. And I'm wondering if this is a particular variety.
No, it's that they've squashed it and they put a little bit of, I think in most of the canned pumpkin, they have a little bit of water and something else, maybe a little sugar, in order to give it color.
Not this one. This is just 100% pure pumpkin.
Then it depends on when they picked it, how ripe it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I've made pumpkin at home from scratch, which I don't do, it's too much work. When I do that, it comes out kind of between the two colors, not as light as the raw pumpkin, but not as dark as the canned.
Okay.
So I think that's the processing, and also remember the canning also makes it dark when they pressure can it. Okay, so that's a beautiful job. You cut the pumpkin, and the only reason that Tracy and I decided to do that is because that's how I did it. And in the recipe, it gives you that option. You can put it in a regular bowl. But what I love about this is, if you really want to impress people, like at the holidays, anytime, get the small pumpkins, the real tiny ones that are like for one serving, cut it like Tracy did, and save the top so that you can use it like a little garnish. She'll show you that in a minute. And then serve the soup that she's cooking in that as a bowl. It won't leak out. As long as you haven't poked a knife in it, you know, to test it or something, it won't leak out. So, okay, so the first thing you did was what? You browned the bacon?
Yes, I already got the bacon, and it was nitrate free. You know, the Apple, what's that brand?
Applegate. Okay, Applegate. Okay, so there again, for those of you that don't choose to eat bacon or can't, consider turkey bacon is good. You can get turkey bacon, or you can just eliminate it altogether. I have people that have actually used a sausage with sage in it that comes in a roll that's all natural, and that's good too. But I prefer the bacon. The taste is completely different. Okay, so you've done all of that. What about our soup ingredients? Do you have your red apples already peeled? And
everything is, you didn't say to peel the red apples. It says 4 red apples diced.
Okay.
So everything is diced. These are the apples, carrots and celery. No, onion, carrots, and celery.
And celery. Okay, so you have 2 quarts of chicken stock. And again, for all of you, remember that we've given you 2 different options of a really clean chicken stock, whether it's a cube or whether it's the little. Well, yours isn't so little. You bought the big one. The reduction sauce, which is a stock made like the French do, where they cook it a long time so that it reduces to half of the amount, and it's wonderful because it's really rich. And have you used it again, Tracy? The one that you bought in the bigger container?
No, not yet.
Oh my gosh, it's delicious. I did it yesterday for gravy. I just made mashed cauliflower and gravy and made it like a hot turkey sandwich, only with my roasted chicken. That's another thing to come. It was delicious. So it's you need to use it and try it. It's really good. Okay, so what do you have now there, dear?
So I have my pot that I made the bacon in, and I have the bacon set aside on a paper towel, and there's a little bit of bacon fat left.
Which you want. Don't get rid of that. Yeah.
And I usually bake my bacon, just FYI.
Okay. And I don't, but that's okay. A lot of people do it in an air fryer too, and I don't like it as well, but it's healthy, so it's okay. All right, so use the bacon drippings because that's really good. So now you're going to saute the onions. Let me grab my recipe so that I have it handy, because I know you don't always have it handy. You're going to go ahead and
right here.
Oh, okay. So add some butter to those drippings. Add your butter. And if somebody chooses not to use butter, you can use coconut oil or avocado oil, but it isn't the same. If you're going to make it the real way the bisque is made, bisque is a French soup. It's a gourmet soup. You've got it in there. You got butter?
Yep.
Okay, then add your apples.
Carrot.
Onion.
Hold
onion.
on, Nelly. Onion.
Celery. And garlic.
Okay, garlic. I gotta smash the garlic.
Okay, and then you're gonna cook it.
Dandy pampered chef garlic press.
I know you love that thing. I don't have one of those. I probably need to get one.
Well, I'll have to get you one for Christmas.
You're gonna talk to Santa, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're gonna do is put that in there with the bacon grease and the butter and let it just kind of not really saute it because you're not trying to get it brown, but just cook it a little bit. Put it on high and keep stirring it. You don't want that butter to burn because it'll get bitter. Okay.
Okay.
And then you're going to, once it gets hot, go ahead and show us how it's hot and keep stirring it. The mistake people make is they get sidetracked.
While I'm doing this, why don't you tell them a little bit about pumpkin?
A little bit about pumpkin? Oh my God, pumpkin is actually, it's internationally known. But I think that the most thing, because in the recipe I'll have a little bit of history about pumpkin, but I think that the most important thing I want to share with all of you is I really believe that this time of year, in the fall and winter, especially the fall, most of us love the color. I said in one of my articles, have you ever seen a fast food restaurant in pastel colors? No. Because when I studied in Europe with Dr. Max Luescher, who is the father of color psychology, he was the one that helped all the architects decide what colors for what business so that they'd have more success. One of the quotes that he had was, color feeds our subconscious like nutrients feed our body. So just think about it. If you've got a real, if Tracy, if you just had a white bowl and you put the soup in, it doesn't mean it's not going to be good, right? But if you had a colorful bowl, or if you had it served in a pumpkin, then the appetite is being stimulated subconsciously, and it actually makes it taste better. You know how frequency is everything? Okay, so frequency in color is much higher than frequency in gray or white, or yes, it's got to be frequency. So, okay, so you've got your broth.
My broth is here.
Okay, would you please go stir the pot so that you don't burn your garlic or make it bitter? Is it browning? Do you have it on high?
Yeah, it's on high. So I'm just,
Okay.
the butter is melting.
Okay, but it hasn't sizzled yet.
Right.
You want to sizzle. You want a big sizzle.
Okay.
Okay. Then after it sizzles, which tell me when it sizzles, because you really don't want to put it in before that. And the reason for that is because just like we always emphasize, caramelize your onions. It makes a difference. Get those tips brown. The same thing with this. If you just dump it in a crock pot, it's not going to have the same flavor. I don't like crock pots. I like slow cookers. The difference is you control the temperature better in a slow cooker than a crock pot. Crock pot's usually warm, medium, and high. But the point is that by doing what Tracy's doing, it's going to add the depth of flavor to all of those vegetables that she threw in there. And Tracy, you know that I don't cook and eat the same day. If I make that soup, I make it the day before because the flavors melt together so much better. That's why a slow cooker is good because it cooks all day. So even though it's not the day before, you've got the flavor. Ready? Is it sizzling?
It's sizzling.
It's sizzling. Okay, add the wine.
The wine. I just so happen to have leftover wine from my husband's birthday party. Because otherwise,
Well,
what would I do? I wouldn't want to open a bottle of wine for a quarter cup.
No, and I always save my wines in the refrigerator for that too when I entertained, so that I could use it for cooking. So add the wine, and in that you're adding a quarter cup of white wine. It could be any
Quarter
white
cup.
wine. Okay. Now you're going to add the cider.
Okay, I got a funny story about this.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
On the
So
cider, you added a half a cup. Tell us the story. What did you do to get it? You have to squeeze the apples.
So, when I read the recipe quickly, I thought it was apple cider and I thought it was just vinegar. And so I didn't buy apple cider. And so I'm like, shit, and I don't have time to go to the store. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I'm like, oh, I have lots of apples. So I just juiced some apples and made my own apple cider.
And that's okay. That's great. That's showing, that's showing the versatility that we all as cooks have to use. You want something, you go, oh my God, I don't have any. What can I use that's similar? So that was good on your part. Apple cider is just that it's got a little bit, because it's fermented, it has a little bit more of the zing to it. So if I were you right now, I would put maybe a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar if you have it.
Okay.
Because then that makes it more like the apple cider, because it's got to have a little bit of that zing, of that more of a tart taste, and the actual apples just made into juice or into puree would not be the same. So maybe use a tablespoon. You can always add more if you think it's too sweet later. Okay.
Okay. That's all
Perfect.
set.
Okay. Now you're going to add the pumpkin puree and all your herbs.
What about the broth? Do I add the broth?
You can add it all if you want. It's fine. Whatever time you want. Yes.
And the pumpkin puree.
And the pumpkin puree, yes. And then all your herbs. So you've got a bay leaf that you're going to put in there.
I have to say, I love pumpkin. I'm like hooked on it right now.
Oh, me too. Pumpkin muffins and pumpkin bread, I love. I bake that a lot in the winter.
Oh, I don't dare.
Okay,
so 1 bay leaf.
1 bay leaf. You have 1 teaspoon of dried thyme.
Okay, so I have fresh thyme.
That's better. So just pick it off with your hands and just don't even worry about measuring. If it's fresh, just put a whole bunch in.
You know what I do is I have a really nice herb garden, and I have all these herbs and I dry them out myself. I just happen to be out of dried thyme.
Yeah, I used to dry mine when I had my organic farm in my attic. We used to put cheesecloth around them and hang them on clothespins on a clothesline, and they would dry like in 2 days.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's really good. One of my neighbors used to do that, and I thought that's kind of weird. But then when I saw what she did, she had big jars of all her dried herbs. It's a great idea. Also, if you have a dehydrator, you don't have a toaster oven or an oven that has a dehydrator?
I have a dehydrator.
I didn't have one at the time. because living on my farm, I was totally self-contained. I was on a solar system, so I had to watch what electricity I used. And the dehydrator took too long and too much power. Now I would use a dehydrator because it's much easier. So just put a little more in than you normally would. Instead of the 1 teaspoon, maybe go into 2 or 3 teaspoons worth, roughly. Doesn't have to be exact. You've got fresh herbs, that's better. Okay, good. All right, now you're going to add the, let's see, you've got the stock in there already. You've got the garlic in there, right?
Yep.
Okay, and I think that's it. At the end, you're going to add the cream. Now, here again, if you can't do dairy or don't choose to, you can use coconut cream, but it's going to make it a little sweeter. So you might want to add a little bit more of the apple cider or apple cider vinegar so that it's not quite so sweet. I like it a little sweet, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, you're going to use regular cream, right?
No, I'm going to use coconut cream.
Oh, you're not going to use heavy cream. Okay.
I prefer not to eat dairy. And
yeah, I know. I'm just saying in the recipe, I always use cream. Okay. But the coconut cream is really good. I mean, it's a delicious flavor and it's healthy. So it's no big deal. Okay, so now get it to a full boil again.
Okay.
Pan.
Do I cover it?
I think you should, so that it boils quicker right now since we're filming. It needs to be a full roaring boil. Once it does that, then you can add the cream. And you can also use sour cream instead, but you're using coconut cream. Do you have any fresh chives?
No, I was going to garnish with sour cream and pumpkin seeds.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Yeah, I love pumpkin seeds. So once that is completely a full roaring boil, then you're going to cook it until everything is tender. I mean, it's like 45 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. It depends on your stove. I have a terrible time right now with an electric stove. Everything takes twice as long or burns. So I'm envious of your stove right now. Mine will be just like that as soon as the kitchen remodel is done. Okay, so as far as the pumpkin, how long did it take you to cook the pumpkin? At what temperature? Did you go 350?
350 for 38 minutes.
Okay, so figure if you're cooking the pumpkin to serve it in pumpkin, even if you just get a big pumpkin and you're going to make more soup and ladle it out at the table for your guest or whoever you're serving it to, you can make sure that you check it. Take a fork and poke it in when it's real soft, just like when you're cooking spaghetti squash. When it's soft, the fork goes in and comes out clean. You know that the inside is cooked. You don't want it burned. And the other thing, Tracy, is you sprayed some oil on it, right?
To make it brown, yeah.
And it wasn't to make it brown. The other thing you could do is just baste the whole inside with butter. That would work too.
Oh, that's a great idea. That sounds
delicious. Just put butter in it. Yeah, and it just makes it, And the other thing you can do, if you love butter like I do, before you serve it, put a chunk of butter in the bottom, hon. And then put your hot soup over it. And then your sour cream and your pumpkin seeds. It's absolutely the best bisque I've ever had. You're going to blend it, right? So do you have an immersion blender or what do you have?
Yes, I have an immersion blender.
So taste it and see how your salt and pepper is.
Okay, because I didn't put any salt yet.
Okay, I know. You always want to salt it when it's hot. Otherwise, the salt does not get into the depth of the ingredients and they just kind of, to me, they just kind of float on top. So make sure that you, how is it?
Hot. The flavor's great.
How's the flavor?
It's great.
Okay, so do you need salt? Don't you need salt in it?
Not really.
No? Okay, then go ahead and blend it.
All right. I just made a big mess, a big splatter.
I saw that. Just do that much for right now, so that you can see how it comes out and how it tastes.
Well, I just want to make sure I get the bacon out.
Yes. If you feel that too much, you're going to have a splatter.
Okay,
over the edge, I think, aren't you? because I do it all the time and I end up with a splatter. Comes right out of the lid. I had it happen.
I believe you. I'm going to hold it tight. Whoops,
Okay.
gotta turn it on.
Hold it tight and blend away.
Okay, so I blend it first and then add the cream.
Well, I'm afraid it's gonna coagulate if you add it when it's too hot. So go ahead and try to blend it first. If it won't blend, then we'll add the cream.
Okay.
It's not gonna blend. See, some machines don't. Okay, add your coconut milk.
It blended.
Because you're not using heavy cream. So it's blended?
Uh-huh.
Is it? Okay. It is blended?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Add your coconut milk then. Or if you were adding heavy cream like I do, add the heavy cream.
How much? A cup.
Well, you're using, yeah, it's about a cup, but you're using coconut milk, so it'd probably be about the same ratio.
Okay, I'm going to add a half a cup and then have 2 batches.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to dump everything in here so you can see.
Yes.
That it looks great.
That it's blended. But Tracy, this is a good lesson for our viewers, because depending on the equipment that you have, mine won't blend all that at once unless it's real liquidy. So you may have to do it in batches, but my favorite is get the darn immersion blender. It's a wand. You put it right in your pan, in your stainless steel pan, and blend it right there. You don't have another thing to to clean, and another, transferring from one dish to the other.
Well, I'm all about that.
That's really thick, isn't it?
Dishes to clean.
Yeah, you don't need more dishes to clean. You've got enough.
You're not kidding. For my husband's birthday, I was smart. I didn't have any glasses. Everything was disposable.
Good.
Wonderful.
You're going to laugh, but when I built my last big house, I had 3 dishwashers.
Wow.
One that had the drawers is from Australia, the Fisher Paykel, which I loved. And then 2 that were regular dishwashers, because if you have big platters, they don't fit in the one that has drawers. And it was a godsend, because whoever would come to help me clean up afterwards, it was like boom, 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 and we were done. And the contractor thought I was crazy to want.
Must be nice having somebody clean up after for you.
Well, I did a lot of cooking, but I also travel a lot. Is it blending?
Okay.
Okay. Now, have you added the whole cup now?
Huh?
You've added the whole cup of coconut milk now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I just stir it?
Just stir it so that you blend both batches, plate it, and then top it with your sour cream and your pumpkin seeds. Isn't that what you're going to top it with? But you're going to pour it into your plate, into your pumpkin. I'm telling you, if you buy the little pumpkins like that and you serve it to people, it's amazing, with a nice crusty bread or some gluten-free almond crackers. Oh my goodness.
Oh, this company sent me some free gluten-free crackers to try. Julian Bakery, which is where I get my protein bar.
Yep, you need to let us know how it goes. We're always looking for
I haven't tried
healthy alternatives. I buy almond crackers now, but it's the only source I've found. So
how's that?
Okay, so taste it. It's beautiful. Good job. Now taste it.
This is delicious. I love that I put coconut milk in it, because it gives it that sweetness and that,
Yep. Yep.
So
it does.
I want to make this for things.
Is it good? Is it really good? Good. So what do you taste the most? Without talking about the pumpkin taste, Are you tasting the apple cider? Well, you didn't use apple cider, but are you tasting the apples or the cranberries? What are you tasting?
Well,
What is the predominant flavor in that?
There's no
The what?
You taste the savoriness of the, okay, what do we call this in French cooking when you take the onion, celery, and carrot and you cook them?
That is a mirepoix.
Mirepoix, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a savory with a little hint of sweetness. It doesn't have a lot of sweetness, in my opinion, but it's got enough where you want to keep eating it.
Okay, now, next time you make it, if you saute the onions and garlic first, you know how we've talked about on our other shows, get those edges brown and then add everything else, it's going to change the flavor again. But today we didn't have the time to do all that. And it isn't mandatory for this recipe. You can see that. You can taste it. But try it when you do it for your family. Make your saute first of your onions and garlic, get them brown, and then dump everything else in. It's not hard. Just takes a little bit more, and do it in that bacon grease with the butter.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
This was such a treat, and I'm really, truly going to use this recipe for Thanksgiving. So it was awesome.
I'm glad we gave you something new to try. And you're going to have to go buy a bunch of little pumpkins before they're all sold out.
Yep. I know where they're at.
Yep.
I have bought it this morning.
Good. Then you better get enough for everybody for Thanksgiving. Thank you for being a good sport. That was fun, and that pumpkin is adorable.
It is.
You could have put a little face on. Really
okay,
good.
everyone,
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.